This is the wildest thing I've ever seen. A pocket clip attached to the handle of a compact fixed blade. Why on earth would you do it? It's either genius or completely idiotic. And this pocket clip is attached to the CIVIVI SOKN, designed by Kyle Lamb, the founder of Viking Tactics. That's definitely the vein self-defense with this blade, but it potentially has a lot of crossover capability that we're going to find out. Now, when I got this blade, right away I was like, okay, this has got to be a gimmick, this little pocket clip idea. And the sheath starts out with 2 rubber straps with buttons that go over it so that you can scout carry this in the front or back of your person. Now, that's not normally how I like to carry my blades, but that gives you a good option. You put it through molly webbing, whatever it is. So I was like, I want to try out this, pocket clip. Let me take those rubber straps off. So I did, and below them is buried this little Kydex hook right here on the taco design sheath. And right away I was like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get this now. Because being just over 3 ounces total, having a taco design, very slim profile, you slide this into your pocket. Now this rides like a pocket knife with just a little bit of this dog bone, lamb shank, whatever you want to call it right there, protruding enough for you to obviously grab. And then you grab the blade and pull, and this little hook grabs onto your pocket and acts like an Emerson wave, deploying the blade. So that idea, I think, is genius, and I've carried it extensively like that and have been really enjoying that process. So it allows me, if I'm, if it's not a stressful situation, to just put my thumb, boom, pull it out, and then use the knife. And then, yes, you're gonna have to, use 2 hands, kind of pinch the sheath and pop it back in. But if I need to quick deploy this, I can just hook that thing and pull.
And of course, if you use it this way, you're going to need to keep track of that sheath because it could pop out of your pocket, or tether it to your belt or belt loop in some way so you don't completely lose it.
The pocket clip, obviously removable, so if you're not into this idea, you can just get rid of it, no problem. But you can unscrew it, you can actually canter it to raise or lower your ride height, and it is ambidextrous. So depending on what side, strong side, weak side, reverse hammer, or ice pick, however you want to deploy the tool, it allows you to do that. Now, there are 2 things. So overall, I would say the concept is genius, and I've definitely been carrying it this way quite frequently. And again, if you didn't like that idea and you don't like the straps, you can just put an ulti-clip on those attachment points right there, because the sheath itself is excellent, really good retention, but a good thumb ramp right there for quick deployment. Now, there are 2 things I wish, one that you need to know and practice, the other thing that I wish that they had done with this pocket clip to really take it to 11. But before I highlight that, I do want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is Vaer Watches. Now, we're coming up on 6 months since I first got a Vaer watch, and they just keep on ticking, literally. But really what gravitated me to them in the first place was their quality and options. Not only do you get power choices, including AmeriQuartz, like battery powered. You can have solar, like on my C5, or you can get automatic. So there's options depending on your price point, depending on the power source you gravitate to. And then along with that, you're getting the durability of stainless steel bodies, along with screw down crowns, which offer waterproof capability down to 100 meters, and sapphire crystal over the face instead of cheap polymer glass, which often scratches on those more inexpensive field watches that float around. So that, along with many of them being assembled right here in the USA, giving them a really unique designation, as well as many different quick change options on the wristbands, really changing the whole style of your watch in a flash. Just makes the versatility, but also the quality really stand out to me. So I'll have a link popping up here as well as in the description box below over to Vaer Watches, so you can start exploring all the different features and designs and really dial in the perfect watch for your needs, your location, and style. Okay, so the first thing you need to be aware of if you are going to carry it this way and use this hook is that you got to practice that pull, and probably do it with a crappy pair of pants, because I have done it several times with a certain pair of pants and it was very easy, but then when I was doing it for the video, just to show you guys how it worked, I accidentally caught it on this portion of my pocket and the edge went right across the edge of my pocket, cutting my pocket slightly. So I've nicked my pocket with that process. So just, you really got to practice and make sure that you're hooking it on to the kydex down here and not hitting it here, because then you will be slicing whatever pair of pants potentially you have, depending on the angle and the canter. So that's just a little data point. The other thing is, it would have been like perfect if they had figured out a way to either give us larger holes than these screws right here, or just given us like bigger screws somehow, and maybe like, you know, done cut-ins on the opposite so that you could do little bolts, so that you could take the clip off and then put the clip on the sheath. That would have just taken it to 11. Currently, I don't think there's any way to do that. Those holes are too small. You know, they're definitely pocket clip torque screws. So that's just something that I would love to have seen, maybe in some future rendition, some version, whatever. We might see something like that. That would have just added to the versatility. So for those who like the idea of the pocket clip but don't want it on the handle, they could just quickly modify it onto the sheath. But you can just get an ulti clip. I'll have a link popping up for that, and you know, you can throw that on there if the pocket clip is not to your liking. You can just remove it completely. Now to the rest of the blade. It's made out of Nitro V steel, Rockwell 59 and 61. CIVIVI has been using that a lot. They really got that steel dialed in. It has a very high flat grind into a full flat tip with 2.8 inches of cutting on about 1/8 of an inch thick. So I mean, even though this has definitely self-defense vein, this is extremely utilitarian, very good for general EDC tasks. Cutting through cardboard, doing food prep, doing cordage, doing rope, doing all the things that you would use this knife for. And I was able to even have enough capability that if I wanted to use this for carving and making out, you know, a little notch, feather sticks, I pounded on it to make sure, you know, that there was edge stability, all the things that you would potentially even use in the outdoors. It could have even some capabilities as a little backup tool for woodscraft if necessary. Definitely not designed for that, but it could definitely do it because of the blade shape. Now the ricasso is a little large. It snagged on some sprinkler hose as well as paracord. It would have been better to have that ricasso a little bit smaller just so it wouldn't snag onto stuff. It's not the end of the world, but that is a little data point for you. But overall, I'm very pleased with the shape, profile, and performance of the steel and design. Now, the handle itself, having large size hands, 3 1/4 spanning, large size gloves, I got plenty of real estate on that back end there. It feels really comfortable with that black G10. They have gray G10 as well with those tubes. No hot spots. I'm really locked in. I have full confidence I'm not actually going to slide up and hurt myself, especially if you're holding this in a reverse grip. You put your thumb right there on that lamb shank / dog bone, and you're not going anywhere, and just really, really feels good. And with all my testing, I left the pocket clip on, and it just feels like a normal pocket knife. Obviously, ergonomics will be better if you remove it, but doesn't, I mean, it just feels like you're working with a pocket knife and has zero problems if that's how you want to carry it ergonomically. So finally, let's talk pricing really quick, and I'll just run in a couple quick competitive options for you to think about. Now, CIVIVI did hook me up with this model. I didn't even know it was coming. They're just like, hey, we're sending a blade your way. I was like, cool. And this is what showed up, and that's why I was like, it's got to be a gimmick, and then was blown away when I actually started trying to, you know, use it the way that I believe it's designed, and really impressed with that idea. Currently, I say currently because we don't know what's going to be happening, but they're $89, $90 for the design. I'll have links popping up as well as in the description box below to this, as well as some of the other options. So at just under $100, I think that's a very viable option and pricing for all the materials and all the extra little features and details and multiple carrying options that it comes with. Now, along with that, when we look at maybe other blades that you could potentially carry as EDC or self-defense, one option that comes to mind is the KIZER mini harpoon or full-size harpoon. Those are options that you could definitely look into. Those will be a little bit more inexpensive, around $60 currently, and those are going to have like 3V or D2 steel options. So that's just one that popped in my mind really quick, but I'll have a few more in those links below in that kind of vein if you want to explore this idea of self-defense, but also EDC focused or implicated designs. I'll have a few of those lined up in the description box below for you guys. So overall, the SOKN, super impressed. This is definitely going to be in my regular rotation this summer as an EDC knife because of how lightweight but also capable it is for me. So leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this pocket clip idea. Is it totally bogus and you're never going to use something like that? Or does it seem kind of ingenious? Appreciate you guys hanging with me today. Check out the other videos. Subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.